Hey guys, as always, this is D Car Tracker here, and today this video is to talk to you about how to get rid of negative equity on a Maserati or any luxury car for that matter. Well, first thing, two things that we have to look at pretty much. You're gonna have to pay attention to is it a lease vehicle or is it a purchase vehicle? So those are the two different ones that you're gonna have to pay attention to when you're thinking about getting rid of negative equity. So if it is a lease vehicle, you could just return it and get on a new lease, and at some point it may increase your payment or decrease your payment. So it depends on the options or the actual sales or anything else it is that they have going on at your dealership when at the time of the trade-in. But if it is a purchase vehicle that you are returning or you trying to get rid of because of negative equity, you try not to let it go too high. The best way to tackle this is to pretty much keep the car. So if you have a car that you purchased for about 100 grand, and in 2 years you put about 50,000 miles on it, and the car end up worth about $25,000 or $26,000, the best way to get rid of the negative equity is to own the car and keep driving it. And the other option is that you could use it as a rental, where you rent the car on special occasion and stuff like that to make up some money for the difference, and then you just add that amount to your what you call it, your auto loan payment, and that will help you decrease the actual negative equity that you currently have on the car. But if you think by taking the car that you actually purchased for about 100K, then 2 years down the road you out $70,000 that you done paid off 30,000 off the car. You have 70K left to pay it off, and the car currently worth about $25,000. It is not a smart move, because at the end of the day you're losing more money than you have. Or for that matter, if you're stupid, just go ahead, by all means, just do it. But at the end of the day, you should just hold the car and rent it, and at some point you'll break even, versus if you were to just go and go buy a new one. That right there, my friend, would be the worst way to go about it. But in the future, when you do pay off your negative equity, I would assume that you would pretty much need to at least just lease a car. If you know that the car costs over 100 grand or will cost more than $100,000, and you don't want to keep it for too long because of the depreciation value of the car, the best way to deal with that is to pretty much lease it. Lease the car for a short period of time and return it. That way you don't have to worry about the negative equity for any reason. But if you're gonna buy it and you have negative equity, you're just gonna have to eat the cost. Because if you don't eat the cost, it's just gonna make your life miserable. You're just gonna spend a lot of money for no reason, and you just keep on increasing your negative equity. And this is where you put yourself in a hole, and there's no way to get out of it. So this is the best way to get rid of negative equity in the car. That's per my assumption, but anybody else can do it differently. And just to recap that, the best way to decrease negative equity on a vehicle that you purchase is to own the car and rent it for the time that you don't use it. So it will not only bring you some additional income that you can put on top of your actual current monthly payment, then you can pay off the car faster that way. If you decide to take the car and go trade it in for a newer version of the car, thinking that the newer version will eat up the negative equity, all you do is just adding more debt to your current to your current loan. That's all you do. You don't do anything else but just increase your debt. So negative equity, guys, the best way to get rid of it is to keep the current car that you're in and then making additional payment, either by coming out of your pocket or by renting the car for the time you don't use it. And that's the best way that you get rid of negative equity.